In this video, we're going to have a look at the workflow for AHPs. In this example, physiotherapy, but a similar process would apply for occupational therapy. We've logged into PowerChart. We have the typical home page with your message centre on the left and your ambulatory organiser on the right. It's possible to see clinic patients in the live system by selecting the appropriate resource here. If you know the name of your clinic, type it in and then apply. In this case, I've selected the RDA AM Respiratory Physio group. And on the day that session is booked, in this case the 20th of April, we would see the appointment slots. And as I say, in the live system, these will be populated with patients. Clicking on the patient's name will open their record. You will then be able to create a SOAP note for the encounter or whatever documentation is deemed appropriate. For inpatient referrals, there's a few tasks to be done to set things up. You'll only need to do this the first time you access the live system. Initially, we're going to set up a patient list. Select the spanner icon and then New. Now the list you create needs to cover the areas where you would expect to get referrals from. This might be a location if you are ward-based, or a medical service, for example, general surgery or trauma and orthopedics. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to assume I'm the physiotherapist for both trauma and orthopedics and colorectal surgery. So I'm going to set up my list based on those medical services. So from the list on the right, I need to find colorectal surgery. Tick that box, and I also need to find trauma and orthopedics and select that box. I'm expecting my referrals to come from both day cases and inpatients. And I'm only expecting to see patients who have not been discharged. I can change the name of the list here if I would like to. If I want to share the list, then I could by setting up a new proxy. Could share with the rest of the physiotherapy department. I could give them full access or more limited access, and I could time limit it, but I'm going to make it unlimited. I'm going to apply that. I'm now happy with my list. Highlight it and move it into my active list section, and then click OK. So in the play domain, you can see these are the patients that fulfill those criteria. You'll notice if we look at the medical service, they're all from trauma and orthopedics or colorectal surgery. Some are inpatients and some are day cases. Now, referrals to AHPs will be picked up in the multi-patient task list, which you can select from the toolbar here. Initially, it appears to be empty, but there's a little bit of setup to be done before this becomes active. Firstly, we need to tell it which lists of patients you want to search for referrals. To do this, right click on the grey bar where it says Assigned Tasks, and then click Customize Patient View. You'll see that one of the options is to choose a patient list. We can choose the list that we already created. Save and then say OK. So now we have the multi-patient task list for tasks based on patients from colorectal surgery and trauma and orthopaedics. Now, if you look at the list, you can see that there are some referrals to physiotherapy here. But there are also some to the cardiology nurse, the nutrition nurse, and the inpatient dietitian, which you probably don't want to see. To filter this list to just referrals for physiotherapy, click Options from the Task menu and then Task Display. We then need to look down the list on the left-hand side to find physiotherapy referrals. Now, we'd like to see physiotherapy contacts and physiotherapy referrals. So select those, click on Save. So it saves that preference for me, and then OK. You will now see that I only see 2 referrals, one from orthopaedics, one from general surgery, in my referral list. Now, you would need to set the referral list for each of these tabs. So we'll move on to Contacts. Remember, we right click on Assign Task to customize the patient view, choose Patient List, choose my surgical list, save, click OK. There are no contacts yet. That's because I haven't seen either of the patients. Now let's go back to our referrals. The first referral is Dawn Morley. If I hover over the order details, I can see that she needs post-arthroscopy mobilisation. If I double click on the referral, I can either reject, in which case I would need to give a reason, or accept the referral. Once I've done this, I sign the referral form. And a tick will appear in the referral list. If I was to refresh the screen at this point, the referral will still stay there. The task status is pending. If I now go to the Contact tab, refresh, we'll see that the referral I've accepted has appeared in the contact thing. Date and time have defaulted to now. If I go and see the patient, and I'll open the contact form. Anything in yellow is mandatory. So my patient contact was face to face. Normally, your name of whoever's logged into the system will be in this box. I'll record the clinical time I spent with the patient and the non-clinical time. I need to record an outcome. So, having sorted out this lady's mobilisation, remember she's a day case admission, I am happy that the goals are achieved and she can be discharged. And this is an orthopaedics and trauma. Once I've completed this form, I sign. A tick appears here. And when we refresh the screen, no further contact is required. Let's go back to our other patient. Again, if we refresh the screen, that first one has now disappeared. It's been dealt with. So Ian Smith is an inpatient, and I can see here that he's got poor oxygen saturations post-operatively and a history of COPD. I'm going to accept the referral and sign. Again, if I refresh, you'll see this has changed now to contact pending. Now, before we fill in the contact form for this patient, I'm going to show you how you would record your clinical notes. Patient's Ian Smith. The easiest way to open this encounter would be to go back to the patient list and double click on the patient's name. Make sure on the left hand side you have AHP workflow selected, and you'll see across the top of the screen a list of potential notes. Inpatient will give me an overview of the patient's notes, including any previous physiotherapy assessments, clinical notes from the surgical team. But I want to fill in a SOAP note. You can fill this in exactly as you would on paper. I can review any documents already created. In the live system, recent lab results would pull in here, along with diagnostics, for example, a chest x-ray. There's a space here that I can order the latest vital signs will be displayed here, along with the patient's past medical history, problem list. There's space for me to write my analysis. And a plan. Once I've finished, I'll need to create my note. So I would select Physio Progress Note. I get to preview what I've written. If I've forgotten anything, I can still edit these sections. Once I'm happy, I sign and submit. You'll see it defaults to an adult physiotherapy progress note. I can give it a more detailed title if I wish. Once I sign, it becomes a clinical document in part of the medical notes, which will be viewable by all healthcare professionals. I close the record, go back to the NPTL, refresh the screen, and I see the pending contact with that patient. Double click, record the contact, further treatment will be required. This was a general surgical patient, and I sign. Now, although that contact is complete, you will notice when I refresh the screen, a new pending contact is generated because I did not discharge this patient. Now, at the moment, the date and time is scheduled to right now. To update this, I would need to right-click and reschedule the task. Now, in this patient's case, I've asked for him to have some analgesia, and I'm actually going to retreat him in about an hour's time. But it might be the next day or a couple of days or after the weekend. I can give a reason for rescheduling. And click OK. That contact will stay there until such time as he receives further physiotherapy treatment. Finally, you may wish to refer the patient for physiotherapy yourself, for example when you're on a ward round or if you're taking part in a multi-professional board round. You will need to enter the patient's notes. This can be done via the patient list or from the whiteboard view or doctor's work list view, which are available from the toolbar. You then select on the far left hand side requests and care plans and then add to make a new order. The order is refer physio. You'll see it comes up, referral to inpatient physiotherapy, name of the clinician, click done. There are a few fields to fill in here at the bottom. So what is the specialty of the patient? This is a surgical patient. Everything yellow is mandatory. Other fields are optional. Once you're happy, sign the referral. And you see it here. And if we refresh the screen, it's been ordered. If yourself or another physiotherapist was to come to the NPTL for that area, look at referrals, you can see a new referral. Hopefully that's shown you how to set up a patient list, how to set up the NPTL to show you physiotherapy, referrals and contacts, and how you can refer a patient yourself for physiotherapy. As I said at the beginning of the video, the exact same workflow could work for occupational therapy.